Okay. All right. So yeah, we did start, and that's exactly why I wanna uh, have this session with you because we have a job. I'm gonna jump right to it. Okay.
Yep, yep, go
All right.
for it.
So we have a job. This is our job that we're doing, Modern Art Museum of Fort Worth. Okay.
Okay,
And then in this job, we have time tracking progress that we are doing, right?
okay,
But some of these tasks are completed, and I understand that we did not possibly build that out in the schedule or something like that, the services or the schedule. So the objective here is we want to be able to mark the tasks that are completed as completed. And I understand
okay.
we don't do that in the time tracking, we do that elsewhere.
With the services,
Yeah.
yeah. So you can, I don't have mouse control, but if you can click on services, so for each of these trees, you can set up services in order to track completion. So these services are set up in your settings. So if you're able to just duplicate this browser, so go back to LMN time and go up
Okay.
to the very top and, yep, perfect. Now back out of here, please. And go back to jobs and then go to settings, please.
Jobs.
My apologies,
Settings.
settings, the top menu.
Settings.
That's great. And then go to services on the left side.
All right.
So that's where these services are set up. So if you want to mark off that you did specific trees, you need to
Right.
create them each as a service.
Okay. So
Once you've set that up, you can then, if you're able to invoice off of those services, you can set it up to bill per visit, or in this case, bill per tree. Or if you're just looking to simply track that it's completed,
yes.
you would just set it up as included.
Yeah. So this is what we're trying to do. Just track whether it's been completed because the invoicing we do separate, not per tree or anything. So
Okay,
I
that's
have
fine.
this service already, tree wrapping installation.
Yep.
So how do I actually do it in the context of this job that I have?
Okay, so do you want to track each tree, or do you just want to track that the
Each
service
tree, yeah.
installation is done?
Each tree because we built out each tree in the time tracking of the job.
Okay, so then you would want to add a service for each tree. So essentially, you'd be duplicating your tasks, but in these services.
Over here or on the job level?
You would do it over here, and then you'd be able to apply it to the job.
So
So you would create them here, and then if you go back to the other browser, please, Element Time, and then you go down to Add Services on the bottom right. You're pulling from the list in the other browser. So if you set up each tree as its own service, your crews, once the tree has been installed, would mark off the tree has been installed, and then you'd be able to run reports based on service completion.
So let me ask you something. These are all the same type of service, right? We have 86 trees in total for the modern.
Yep.
I don't need to create, if I understand correctly, I don't need to create 86 of these. I created one, and over here I can duplicate it 86 times for this job.
No, so you'd want to create. You'd only be able to apply it once. So you would need to create one if you're wanting to track each tree individually. Then you could create it 86 times, or your crews would mark it off 86 times. But
what do you mean my crews can mark it off 86 times?
Yeah. So, but the only thing with marking it off 86 times is that, to your point, each tree has a different rate that you bill.
Right.
So if they're you just wouldn't know which tree was completed unless you logged into the timesheet.
Okay. But how do I see that the tree is completed?
And they would, so if the tree was completed, they would mark off the service. And then you'd be able to see that in a few different reporting options as well as within the timesheet itself. So if you back out of here, please, or actually go to the other menu, the other tab, Element Time, and then go to Reports, please. And go to Job Billing or Billing Report on the left side. left side menu there.
Oh, sorry.
And yeah, that's correct. So a couple things is that you could run service activity summary. So that'll show you all services that were marked complete.
Oh, not this one. You said service activity summary.
So that you'd be able to run it based off of the service installation. Actually, press cancel. Cancel here for a second. I think I have a better report. Go to the bottom report, service activities completed. Okay, and then now if you can search a specific job, just to narrow down the search.
Doesn't have. Because it goes by group.
Oh, okay. And do you use job groups or no?
I don't. I know. Clearly, I don't because it didn't.
Okay.
Let's do September 16. Let me just see how that looks. We started September 16.
Sure.
October. It fires up in Excel. Okay.
So this may be more helpful if you decide just to use just the one service. So it would show here the date of the timesheet, the tasks that they were clocked into, and then in addition, so the task that they were clocked into would be the tree, and then scrolled over to the right would show that they marked off the service.
So there should be. So once I start to do that, there will be more line items here. Tree 1,
yes,
tree 2,
yeah.
tree 3. All right, let's give this
absolutely.
a shot. Let's give this a shot.
If you can, so just with that report, so instead of adding this service 86 times, if you can just open that report for me again, please.
Oh, okay.
You could, and let's just scroll over. So does it show the timesheet tasks that they were clocked into? Timesheet status, service provider, blah, blah. Provider name.
Task
job. Okay, so no. Job name, job address, task name. Perfect. So if you pause for a second, so how you would know which trees were done is that you've named all the trees individually. So you would see task name here, say tree 86, and then if you scroll over to the right, once you add that service to these jobs, if you go to and pause, this service activity installation done would be checked. So that's how you would know. So they wouldn't check it unless it was completed.
Okay, I guess let's see it how it would look. So let's do one here.
Okay.
So this is an ongoing. Where do I go? Jobs, right? So this is an ongoing job right now, right?
Yeah.
So if I wanted to add, these tasks, how do I do that?
So services. So click on the job, please, that we want to add it to, and then go to services, and then go down to the bottom right and add the installation service.
Oh, didn't I do that already?
I don't know. Maybe we didn't save it, and then hit add. Okay, and now hit save.
Okay, maybe I didn't hit save.
Okay, and then go back out of here and go to and create a timesheet to clock into. So go to time, please.
They have been clocking in and clocking out. Oh, it's only Mike? Why is it only Mike?
I'm not sure.
Everybody's you click on clocking in and out?
Can you click on Mike for yesterday, please? Okay, back out of here. We'll just create a new timesheet. So go down to the bottom right and hit new.
But wait 1 second, Holly. Everybody is clocking in and out. I mean, Mike is Pedro, Mike, Edward. They're clocking everyone in and out. Why can't I see that?
So is Mike clocking in multiple people, and you have other supervisors clocking in multiple people?
Yeah, I think they're all using Mike's login for that.
Okay, so then, so you're just seeing here the supervisor name. So who created the time record? Okay. If you click into it, so go to today for an example, and then just click on any of those tasks.
Yeah, you see, tree 39, tree 36.
Okay,
Yep, here are
so
the
then,
people, Melvin and
the
Pipkin.
yeah, so they're stored underneath the timesheet that Mike had created. So you're
Okay,
using Mike's login.
perfect. So it is captured over here. So for me, okay, so if I want to see, all right, so that's working in that kind of way. All right, so now how do I mark? How do I
Um,
mark it again? How do I
so
mark it complete
we'll
again?
create a timesheet here. So go back to that other browser. And then if you want to back out of, because we don't want to interrupt their timesheet, go down to the bottom right and hit Add Timesheet. And then today's date is fine.
Okay.
That's great. And then now we're going to add a task. So back down to the bottom right, please. And grab the museum job.
Oh, I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing.
No, you're perfect. Yeah, so grab the museum job from here. Okay. And then click Next. Okay, and just click yourself in. So unclick everyone else.
Oh, unclick. Okay. Unclick and leave myself clicked in. Where am I again? Here I am. So that's it. Only I am.
Yep, and then hit Next. Okay, and then choose a tree, please. Okay, and hit Next.
Actually, tree
And
13.
okay, and hit Next. And then if you can go down to the bottom left to the little pencil and just edit the time back 1 minute. So we're able to clock out. So change it to 10:41 and set. And then now clock out.
End time to the right now.
And that's fine. Yep. And then hit Next. And mark this service. So this is the service that we just added.
Right.
And then hit Next. And Next. And Next. Okay. Let's submit the timesheet because I'm not sure if you'll see it unless the timesheet's submitted. So go down to the bottom right in the center there and submit the timesheet. Perfect. And just uncheck yourself for lunch and hit save. Excellent. And hit save. Okay. Excellent. So now let's go rerun that report, please. So we'll go back to reports. You can go, yep, and up to the top, reports. And go to billing, please.
Service
and you got it. Yep. And we'll just change the date to, sure. That's great, yeah. Okay, and hit download file. Okay, so now if we pull that up, we can see that the service provider, as well as what they were clocked into, so which tree. So I think keep scrolling. Yep, so tree 13. And then if you continue to scroll, we'll be able to see that that service was marked off as completed. Yeah. So that way you would know individually, so they would mark it off for each tree once they complete it, and you would be able to run this report. You have all the tasks listed out separately, so you'd be able to see as soon as they mark off that service per each tree that it's ready to be billed.
Gotcha. So basically, because this tree number 13, where does it say tree 13?
I think it was on a little left. And then a little right. Right there. Task name.
Yes, task name. Tree 13. So because I only marked tree 13 as completed, that's why it's the only tree on this completed report?
That's correct. So if you wanted to, if they did multiple trees in one day. Every time that they complete a tree, when they clock into the next tree, then they would be marking off that service is complete.
Okay.
So then it would be reflected per each tree. This is complete.
Okay, so let me see if I understand how to do it. So, or let's say when Mike comes up to the job site and he wants to start checking off or start identifying which trees were completed, then he goes to his LMN time. He goes to his jobs.
So the only problem would be if he's marking off like 10 trees, he would need to, because all your trees are set up as a task because you wanted to track the length of time.
Right.
He would need to click into each task and mark the service.
Yeah,
so
okay.
If you don't,
that's the only way to do it, right?
If you don't want that and you just want him to have like a pick list to choose from, then you would need to set up 86 trees as services.
Got it. Okay. Which is a headache.
Yeah.
Because we have 400 different line items of all of our projects, which means that if I want him to be able to just check that off, we would have to create all 400 as an independent service line items to identify them with whatever the project task is.
I guess so. You could have, like, say you have 86 trees at the museum, and then you have 10 trees elsewhere.
Oh, I can
You could still use the same service. It would just be
1 to 10.
Tree 1 to 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but I do have 109 trees somewhere else, so fuck that. Yeah. Yeah, I got you. All right, so this is the service. So let me see something. So I have this service. I have this, right? So if I and this is this is specifically for the modern, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so if I want.
So sorry, the service isn't specific. The service is what, if it needs to be specific to this, it can be, but you can use the service on all your jobs.
So regardless of the fact that it says over here modern art.
Yeah, so when you have another job and you add that service, you're just adding it to the other job. It would have the same function. We're just tracking completion.
Okay, so see light installation done. Removal. And so wrapping. Okay, so I can just add services here to identify those tasks, and then they will add each one they need whenever.
Yeah, and if you're adding these services, how are you doing your invoicing? Is it a contract price? Or are they paying per tree?
Where is it not clickable? No, it's a contract price. They're not paying per tree.
Okay,
it's for our track.
You mentioned that you're using something else. Are you using QuickBooks for your invoicing?
We are. I don't know why it doesn't let me add a service. We are using QuickBooks.
It's not letting you add it because it's already here, so it's already added. So it's not letting you add the same service.
So if I want to add a service, I gotta go back to settings. That's where it's.
That's correct.
Settings, services, and over here I can add service.
Yeah, your list to choose from. That's correct.
Install roof line with C9.
So these aren't job specific. These are just the services that you offer that can be applied to multiple jobs. If they need to be job specific, you would just create them.
Right. Yep. It's not taxable. We don't need to flag it for review. No, I'm just reviewing. It's not taxable, and we don't need to flag it, so I'll just okay, right? Okay. So this is.
Are you providing quite a bit of detail when you're providing the invoice, or are you just giving them an invoice for the amount of the contract?
No, we have line items on the invoice. So it would say, tree. In this case, let's give you the case of the modern with 84 trees, right? 86 trees.
Yeah.
So we've divided it according to a sitemap to 5 zones, and they would have an invoice zone 1, trees, number, blah, 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 and the amount. Zone 2, trees, or we have like or I group them by the price if it's the same price. So trees number 1 to number 5 is the same price.
Yeah.
It would be one line item for all 5 trees, but on the invoice we still use zero. Um,
Oh, okay.
but we have, I believe we've set up the QuickBooks integration.
Okay.
Well, since most of them are recurring and we didn't build it out yet in here, we didn't want to have duplicates. Then we didn't. We're
Gotcha.
still sending it through zero. That's why I'm not really worried about billing per tree and all of that. I just want to be able to track the completion of each task.
Yep. Yep. That's fine. In addition, if you ever do decide to switch over to LMN for invoicing, because it syncs directly to QuickBooks, if you're wanting to show which trees are completed, then if you click into the service, please, you could click just show date, and it would go right on the contract. So click on click on that service, please. So you could click show date, and then it's set to included. So when you give the customer the invoice, it would show that the service was completed. So all the trees that they're being billed for.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that sounds good. Okay,
Yeah.
so basically, really, let me see. Let me add a couple of things while I have you still here. So this is we did install roof line with C9s. Now we'll have hang reef, hang reef. Okay, it's included. Blah blah blah. That's just it, right? We also have hang garland.
I would suggest adding the word, and I'm glad I'm watching you add them, using the word complete or done. So just to signal to your crews to mark it off only when the work is done, since you're going to be using it for billing purposes.
Gotcha. So let's edit that. Install roofline complete. And then we have hang reef complete. We have that, we have that, we have that. Tree wrapping installation. That's already been used, that's fine. And then we have garland, we have reef, we have lamp post.
Well, it seems like you're well on your way with this. Is there any other questions that you had?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
If something comes up, then I'll do it. And I recorded it. So in essence, just to recap real quick before I let you
Yeah,
go.
of
So
course.
Mike would go on the job site, clock into each of the tasks, mark it.
He would need to, yeah,
Is
the market as complete.
So in the app itself, it would be because he has also the an iPad, so he can actually do it like on the browser. But in the Element Time, does it have like the service and then market complete, or is it just in here?
Mm-hmm. Nope, that's correct. So your crews would take care of that in the field. So if Mike's doing that,
yes,
he would need to clock into each task. It's important to know that he'd need to be clocked into each task for a minimum of 1 minute, which you saw what I did, which was I edited it back 1 minute.
Right.
Because he won't be able to clock into the next task to mark off that service unless it's been at least 1 minute.
Okay. Okay.
So you can roll with that, and that should improve your reporting. And then if you get feedback from Mike that it's too crazy to be clocked into 1 minute when he's just trying to mark off trees, then potentially you might set up each tree as its own service, but you can work that out with Mike and see what the better plan is.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. And if anything comes up, you know where to find me.
Thank you, Holly. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day.
Same to you. Bye now.
Bye bye.